What's up guys, welcome to the Hot 1LE channel. Today I want to talk about why I bought my third Camaro. Did I do the right? Did I do the wrong thing? Why didn't I get the Mach 1? Why didn't I get the CTSV? Well, we're going to talk about that right now. Let's do it. Alright guys, so behind me is my third Camaro in about 3 or 4 years. I've had two SS1LEs, a 1 SS1LE, a 2 SS1LE, and now I own a 23 Camaro ZL1. I've owned 3 Mustangs in my life, different variations, and I was pretty happy about them. I used to be a big Ford guy until I drove the Camaros. And I kind of want to get into why. Why did I go with a Camaro again? Did I try to appease my fan base? Was I trying to, what was it about the Camaro that made me do this basically, right? So that's what I kind of want to get into. As soon as I released that I bought another Camaro, I had a friend that I talked to that drives a Mustang. And the first thing he says is, I understand why you got the Camaro, you had to appease your fan base. And the first thing I thought was, hurt a little bit, dude. And it's all of my friends with Mustangs, not all, but many, were kind of like a little bit shade on me for getting another Camaro. And I want to tell you guys right off the bat is I didn't do it because of this channel. As much as I love all you guys and as much as I appreciate you guys and your support and driving with you guys in the canyons and the friends that I've met as a Camaro guy, I didn't buy this for anybody else but myself. And if I'm gonna drop $70,000, it needs to be perfect. Some of you are gonna ask me, why didn't I get a dark horse? Why didn't I get the money for the dark horse? I threw around that idea quite a bit. Well, I'm gonna tell you guys this. I don't like the interior of the new Mustang. I don't like that it dropped torque. I don't like that its dash setup are just 2 iPads, kind of no integration. Some people are saying, well, that's the way cars are going, so you better get used to it. Well, I can tell you this right now, I didn't have to get used to it. I got a ZL1. It's got gauges, and I really like the digital gauge cluster of the S550, so it doesn't need analog gauges to me. I test drove 3 Mach 1s, 3 separate times. I test drove a handling pack and then 2 non-handling packs. And I gotta tell you, the Ford dealers that I dealt with were all very polite, respectful. I didn't even get into numbers because I didn't go down that road yet. But I could tell you I could have gotten the Mach 1s with the handling pack close to MSRP, as in no markup, and maybe a little bit under. And I had offers for Mach 1s non-handling packs under MSRP, like right off the bat, $2 grand, $3 grand off the bat. So I walked away from all of those. But I want to say Ford did a great job in impressing me with their salesmen, with their sales teams, and how they respected me and talked to me and joked around with me and everything. So I came down to a point after test driving all these cars. I went and I checked out a CTSV 4 Blackwing. I wasn't going to get the 5 because it's $100,000, and quite honestly I think that's out of the price league of this. This is a $70,000 car. Those are all $100,000. The CTSV 4 Blackwing was more in the 60s, the upper to mid 60s. So that was kind of fitting right there for me. I looked at the CTSV 4 Blackwing, a beautiful car, sat in it. There was so much room in those cars. I couldn't believe how far the seats came back. But ultimately, it had a sunroof. I felt like there was not enough headroom. And when I started it up, the sound of a turbo V6 just didn't do it for me. I'm a V8 guy. I've always been a V8 guy. Every time I get in a car that doesn't have a V8, I just kind of tell myself, why doesn't this have a V8? I know that's no shade on any other engine out there. I know there's a lot of fun out there. I mean, I like turbo 4s and everything. But once you get a taste of a V8, it's hard to walk away. It's really hard to walk away. And that's kind of where this came in. So I test drove a bunch of Mach 1s, as I kind of mentioned, and I had a blast. The handling that the Mach 1 handling pack has on it is a blast. It's a very playful car. It's not as planted as I'd say as like the SS1LE. However, I think handling wise, it's totally comparable. Totally. It's a little more rear end happy. Yes, it kind of grabs the ruts a little bit more in the road. It does have a little bit stickier tires. I believe it's Cup 2s on there. And they sound amazing. They sound amazing. It sounds like aftermarket exhaust on that car. It's crazy how loud they are inside the cabin. And I test drove the crap out of it because the guys let me. I was respectful with the RPMs because it's somebody's car, right? But I thoroughly enjoyed it. Kearney Mesa Ford in San Diego. I just want to give you guys a shout out because you guys were so kind to me and polite to me and really just treated me good. It gave me a really good positive impression. However, the car that I was looking at, a premium Mach 1 handling pack with the elite package, all the good stuff, came out to $69,000 MSRP. It was a $70,000 S550 naturally aspirated 5.0. Let me tell you guys, the car is good. The car is good. But when you have this for $70,000, you're dealing with the 50% horsepower increase at the crank, right? You have a supercharged V8 at that point. And in my opinion, the Camaros have a superior suspension. Now that doesn't mean the Mach 1s are weak. That doesn't mean the Mach 1s aren't capable. They're a very playful and fun car. They have shorter gearings than the SS's, which make it a little bit more fun to just drive around. The clutches I felt were a little bit nicer, the gearboxes. They have a Tremec in them on the manuals. However, you're basically dealing with the V6 Tremec of the Camaro. It's kind of the same thing. I wouldn't get one with an MT82. But after driving those cars and looking at the price, I go, man, well, what is it? What stopped me? So I actually went into a dealership and I was about to get a black ZL1. I drove down to San Diego, had a friend with me, had it so that I could purchase it. I had my money ready. I had everything lined up for it. And the salesman was just having a bad day. I don't know what it is. I don't want to go speak shade on people. If you follow my Instagram, you guys know what kind of came out of that. But the salesman was actually very rude during the process. I tried to do like a little bit of price negotiation like you would normally do friendly wise, which I did do, and I got the markup off of it. But the guy, like if I would talk to him and be like, hey dude, like, okay, can we try to get this a little bit lower? And I was being nice about it and everything. He would just stare at me with just the... And then like I even told him, I was like, well, I could get the ZL1 without the markup at this other dealership. And he even said, oh, well, where is it? I said, it's on the website. You could pull it up. He pulled it up on the website and he just scanned it and said, well, I don't see it there. While I'm sitting there looking at the computer with him, and I'm like, it's right there, man. And the person with me was like, it's right there. What do you mean you don't see it? Like, it was too much games. And the guy was having a bad day or was just rude. And it just put me off so much. It actually kind of pissed me off, if I'm completely honest. And I walked away from a deal. We were within $1,000. We were within $1,000 of each other. And I was just like, you know what? I'm about to do it. But the guy's personality and the way he treated me and the way he went about things pushed me away from that black ZL1. And I walked right out the door and I went and I test drove a Mach 1. No kidding. And I went and I looked at a red Mach 1 handling pack. And Ford gave me a fantastic impression of the company with the way these sales guys treated me, with the way everything went was just really, really positive, uplifting. I got to shake some people's hands that were like joking around, and they were just really cool guys, and I really liked the experience and the brand, and it's something I wanted to represent, because when I do this here for you guys, when I do this here for myself, I want to feel proud about the brand that I'm backing. I want to say I bleed that blood of that company. Now, I'm not a fanboy. I've never been. I still like Mustangs. I still like Fords, but these are a bit better. In my opinion, $70,000, $69,800 is the MSRP for the red Mach 1, premium, Recaros, elite package, all the bells and whistles, big red S550. You guys might have seen it on my Instagram if you follow that. And I didn't even get into pricing because of two major things. One of those major things was when I walked into the dealership, I didn't gasp. I didn't have that oh my God kind of feel. So when I'm paying $70,000, I want that. And now I looked at it, I was like, it's a beautiful beautiful car. It has a different front end than the normal Mustangs. It's very well put together, which is something to say for the Mustangs because they had a lot of body alignment issues. It sounded beautiful. The interior I liked, but one of the biggest things that came to me with that was a piece in the interior that I had a major problem with that I wasn't willing to deal with. So that's where this car shined. And that's where this car did the most right things for a guy at my height. At 6'4", I have long legs, 34, 36 length pants. And sitting in the Mustangs and after test driving them, I could tell you this. There's premium seats, which are leather. They sit way too high. They just do. I was uncomfortable. That made my legs push forward. And no matter how I adjusted it, I felt like I was sitting really high. That's not fun. That's not enjoyable when you're performance driving. You want to sit low, have a lower center of gravity. You want to be comfortable in the car. I wasn't comfortable in it. So I said, okay, let's get the Recaros. They sit about an inch lower and they look cool, which is a factor. And those seats, this is my major problem with those seats. They only go up and down. There's absolutely no thigh support, so you can't raise the front of the seat like you can in these Camaros. And let me show you what I'm talking about, because this was such a huge factor for me. These beautiful seats. So you can see right here how the front of the seat goes up and down. That was primarily a big factor of why I didn't just buy the Mustang that day. I was kind of at the end of my wits. I was waiting 6 months. I was like, I'm gonna buy a car now. That's when I went and got the went to go try to buy the ZL1, but the experience put me off. I go and I sit in the Mustang after already having driven them that same day, and I found the one I want, the color I wanted. The dealership was cool. You know, I could get it at MSRP, maybe $1,000 under. It's $69,000. And the front of my seats don't go up and down. And as I look at these seats more, these are the same seats since like probably 2015, maybe even earlier. And Ford is still doing manual lever, which is fine, up and down and back and forth, and that's it. I can't get fully comfortable. When you want to position yourself in a track position, you got to pull up the seats. That means my legs are going to be holding themselves up a lot higher because there's no thigh support for me for a tall guy. Now, if you're shorter, this probably won't be a problem. If you got shorter legs, it's probably not going to be a problem for you. And cool, I'm happy for you. But again, I'm the one spending $70,000, so it's a big deal to me. Another factor that came into play was 650 horsepower or 480, supercharger or naturally aspirated. Well, as good as the 5.0 is, it's not supercharged like this thing is. And let me tell you, this thing kicks you in your balls. It really does. It throws you in the seat so hard, and I've barely got on it because I'm still in braking. But that's what ultimately made me walk away from the Mustang. But when I walked in the doors and I saw this, when I saw the ZL1, I stopped and went, oh my God, there it is. Yes. Take my money right now. Take my 70% down payment just here. I did that. I was ready. So we're buying that right now. And I got a great experience with the dealership that I was at. And it all worked out, right? And you get these huge rotors. You get ZL1 unbadging on the top. You get a unique hood. You get a supercharger, which let me tell you, I'm a big fan of supercharged cars. Huge fan. Had a Cobalt SS supercharged back in the day, and I can tell you the supercharger sound just like made my life. It was bright red too, by the way, black and red interior. This is kind of like the dad of that car, if you want to put it that way. And you know, like, hey, I hit the big boy leagues. Cool. And that's nothing, no shade to put on the SS1LEs like whatsoever. Fantastic car, really well balanced. This is like a whole nother animal. But that's why I didn't get the Mustang. And I was really close to getting that Mustang. I like the muscle car presence on the road. I like to be a muscle car. People say this isn't a muscle car, it's a sports car, you know, whatever you want to say. But I like the presence, I like the take that it gets. I like the fact that you don't see these a lot. I like the fact that these are unique. And same with the SS1LEs and really all Camaros. You don't have a lot of Camaros out here. You don't have a lot of Camaros in general, and we know that. You go to Cars and Coffee And maybe depending on your area, the official cars of Cars and Coffee is a Corvette. And the reason why I didn't get a Corvette is because they don't have manuals. I looked at the C7s very deeply, and I didn't get a C7 because if I were to go like a 2019, they're still like 65 grand for a Grand Sport or like a Z51. And to me, a 5-6 year old car for still $60,000 wasn't worth it. Although I love the cars, I was actually more comfortable in the Camaros. And yes, I'm glad it still fits the Camaro page as I do, but again, I didn't do it to fit the Camaro page. I bought it because it's what fit me perfectly. Fit me physically, fit me emotionally, and it just clicked all those dots. It hit all those check marks. It became everything to me. And I guess I'm a proud Chevy guy. What can I say? I'm a proud ZL1 driver. I'm a proud Camaro owner. I have profound respect for the SS1LEs, and that's why this is Hot 1LE. I will always love the 1LE Camaro, the SS's, hell, I'll love the V6s. I think the Camaro is just such an amazing car. The Alpha platform that these are on, these are freaking amazing cars, and when they go away, and if you don't get one, I'm sorry, because you're missing out, man. I'm telling you, you are missing out. I love my Camaro, guys. Hey, it looks like I'm about to get kicked out, so thanks guys for watching.